Hi, so this is another part of what I'm doing where I'm looking at the images that I create and breaking them down in terms of how I actually got there and created them as a final kind of image. What I hadn't really explained before, which I really should have done, is that all of these images are works in progress. The images themselves will later on be printed out into material, and then I'll be working into those images using my sewing machine, and I turn them into kind of tapestry based pieces. I'm just sharing all the digital based images, showing how the process is created and also how I go through different versions of it to get to this final image. But also it's to encourage people to make their own images and see different techniques in terms of how that's done. You can see better quality images through my Facebook group with the hashtag of Bookdraw. I've also got an Instagram account and I'm using the hashtag Bookdraw on there, where I'm sharing the images, what they look like as a final kind of digital image. And I'd love for you to use that hashtag for your own images, so if you've got any fan art of different fictional novels that you like, please share them there. The reason why this is separate as well is also because I know some people will just be more into the Bookdraw element, and this is more about a video diary written in particular as a record of how I've made these works, but also for those people who are actually interested in how they became created and also breaking down what the image means. This is where you can see that. I often have to do different images and build them up together. So for example, the bunch of roses, the mirror with the button, that was done separately to the image of them sat together in the bath, and then they get pulled over here. But once they have been coloured in, I start playing around with the image. So before I was kind of playing around with these block colour type things, but as with more than this, I decided that I didn't like that method, and so I've changed it up. I did put some more detail into it, it's a lot softer, and it comes to this kind of version, but it's still very basic, I don't know. So I began to think more about the emotion behind the image, and I did with this image even experiment with text, and that's because there are so many brilliant passages in there, and these are all kind of taken directly out of this scene, so it really highlights all the different parts of the narrative and the story in terms of them bathing, and the whole purpose of doing it via images was so that it visually communicates the stories rather than relying on the text to explain the pieces. So I thought that's the wrong direction to go in. So instead I went for a kind of more nuanced approach or so. So I was looking at in terms of mark making. So in terms of here, the strokes are made to reflect the brush strokes that as she's combing Shug's hair, and Shug herself, as she's relaxing in, she's being meditative and contemplating, and it's the notion between her head and her heart which is making her think of this new tune. And she describes how it's like she's scratched something out of her head, so I've made those scratch marks there. And then this is more a physical interpretation of how she describes this sensation of her button getting real hot and then melting. But every time that she's around Shug, it creates this emotional, physical reaction to her. So it's her kind of going, oh my god, I really like Shug, and her actually feeling stimulated and excited for the first time, something that she never feels when she's around Mister, who she feels like he is defecating on her instead. Then I start playing around with this other surrounding imagery to incorporate it in. So on the left hand here we've got these images where I don't know how well you can see this because I've got an old Mac, but this is actually taken from a victim of physical abuse and domestic violence. And so these surrounding background images are of different victims, and they've been incorporated as a backing to Seeley, and that's reflective of her abusive relationship with Mr. And I wanted to situate that behind her because she is a lot happier in this moment in time because she is brushing Shug's hair. Just wanted to highlight the kind of sense of condensation and vapour as a means to reflect the steamy, relaxing setting of the bathtub. So that's what these bits are in here. And then Shug is also her gateway to a sense of peace and ease. The colour purple is all about the fact that she thinks that God would be pissed off if people didn't stop and look at purple flowers when they pass them by. So this is her also gazing on into a field of purple flowers, and it is her looking out to this sense of peace. So I just wanted to update you because I've actually changed how it used to look like this way, and replaced the face and I've replaced her arm, and now it actually looks like this. And that's just because I felt like I wasn't happy with how it was fitting together, so I just modified her face and have incorporated it into this as a new kind of final image. That's hopefully the last update that I'm going to be doing for this image. I may potentially play around with it a little bit more, but hopefully not. But as with all my images, these are works in progress, and then I actually will be sewing into them later on as a kind of A2 image, and doing final different bits of texture and collage with them at that point. So although you're seeing these at this point, the images will evolve. This is it from me today. I hope that you enjoyed this walkthrough, and please do follow me on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Please contribute your own versions of different images from queer fiction that you enjoy. If you've read The Colour Purple, I'd love to see which part of it you prefer to illustrate and talk about. There's so many different scenes and images which you could potentially use. This is just the one which I chose. I hope to see you again. Please come back, give me a like or a subscribe, that would be awesome. It really helps build this channel. Okay, many thanks, bye.
Subscribe!